All right, what the fuck is up, my little cats and kittens, and welcome to another episode of the OVERSharra Podcast. I'm your host, Shara Coley, and I'm going to be doing what I do best, which is oversharing about whatever the fuck I want to, because here on the OVERSharra Podcast, we believe that oversharing is caring. So let's get into it. All right, got some updates for you. One, if you're watching this, hello, welcome to my new space. Also trying out something a little bit new today, which is recording in the daytime. I have in the past always recorded at night because of lighting. I clearly don't have like a podcasting studio. I'm creating one out of where I live. So I've migrated now into my little sunroom that I just completed, which I'm super proud of. So I painted it this lovely plum color and have just updated it in here. I have this new setup. So this is where I will primarily be coming at you from. So my cats are going fucking crazy, so I might have to put them up. They love this chair. It's like a fleece chair. So they really here comes Monica. You can't see her in the view, but here she is. Bitch, you hurting me. Anyway, I'm in a new setup. So here we are. Also recording in the daytime because, let's be honest, the sun is setting now at 6:30 p.m. I get so tired, and I recorded this episode actually once already, and I just felt like I was so uninspired. It felt forced. It felt like, because again, I waited to do it at night so that the lighting would be dark enough and I wouldn't have any outside light. But you know what? Then, to be quite honest, where I got this idea from of like, fuck it, why can't I just record in the daytime? Why does it matter? I'm not like a studio producer. I saw Brianna Chicken Fry. She's coming back with Brie Uncut or whatever her show is. Plan Brie Uncut, that's what it's called. But she just like recorded in her room one day, and then I was also just like kind of watching some other podcasters that I see on social media and things like that, or people who have video podcasts, and I'm like, yeah, I don't need to always just like record at night. Also, like, again, I'm not a video producer. I still haven't figured out my lighting completely. So here we are in the updated space. I've got my new mic stand. So like I said last episode, that every time I get on here, I just want it to be a little bit better. So that's what we are aiming for. So that's my first little update. New space, super excited. I've been doing some home improvement projects, and I feel like that is now going to be a part of my personality. So just buckle up. I find that whenever I take on a hobby or like a new passion or something, like it really does become kind of part of my personality. So home improvement projects, painting, all of the things, decorating, that is the season of my life that I have entered. I have officially entered nesting season. All right. So other people are going to be going through cuffing season, relationship season, and I'm going to go through nesting season. I'm just going to make my house super, super cozy. I'm going to make it feel like me, because something that not a lot of people know about me, or maybe they do, is that I've moved around a lot. I've moved a total of 37 times in my life. I am 37 years old. So no, it hasn't been that I've moved like once a year, but there's been some years where I've moved 5 times. Like example would be living in New York City. Like I, was always living in a sublet, was constantly like moving between places and things like that. So I have lived in 37 homes at 37 years of age. And so I've never really felt settled anywhere, especially in my adult life. Like even in my kid life, like I didn't experience growing up as like, oh, hi shrimps, like redecorating my room, painting my room, like none of that, because most of the homes that I was in whenever I was growing up were like rental properties. They were pretty like, like apartments and stuff. Like we had a couple of houses and things, but again, usually we were renting and just like didn't paint, like that was never my life growing up. So I feel like now as an adult that I can afford to do it and I have the autonomy to do it. I've been really enjoying it, which is like kind of a surprising. I've always been a pretty crafty person, but something that I discovered recently in taking on my painting projects is that it's the one thing that I have found here lately that when I'm doing it, that my mind doesn't wander. How have you ever heard that question where people are like, think about what what you're doing whenever like you aren't watching time and your mind isn't wandering to other things, and like you're fully in it, like you're enjoying it. Like I've always struggled to be like, I don't know, what does that mean? Dance for sure, but like that's not really like a huge part of my life anymore. And so, but like painting. And here's the thing, I'm not trying to get like some canvas and start painting. Like the abstract painting is not my thing. I'm talking about painting fucking walls, painting cabinets. I painted my cabinets. Like, what a cathartic experience. So I'm going to keep going, even though I have zero permission from my landlord. People were like, oh, did you ask your landlord? No, absolutely not. I'm probably either just one, going to lose my deposit or two, listen, I'm pretty good at it, so I'll just paint it back. So yeah, I have no problem painting it back. But truly, I mean, I can understand this room because it's like a purpley plum color, so not everybody would want that in their home. But like the cabinets, they're like this sage green color, and they look way better. They were like this dirty old cream color before, and they just look dingy. And so like, honestly, like my landlord should be happy that I upgraded their cabinets for them. Okay. But yeah, the next project that I'm going to work on is I'm going to update my bedroom, and I'm going to update my bathroom. So I'm going to update my bedroom. I think I'm going to do like an accent wall, and then like get new bedding and some new furniture and stuff in there. And then I'm going to paint my bathroom. So yeah, bedroom first, making that really cozy. So that is a little update. Those are the updates that I've got going on in my life. Another fun update in my life is that ding dong, the fucking witch is gone, y'all. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, you need to go back and listen to one of my episodes, a couple of my episodes actually, where I talk about my experience with my previous job that I was at for nearly a decade of my life. I walked out of work because my prior boss was, without using any other word to describe it, again, I don't love to use this word, but it's really the only way to describe this person, an insufferable cunt. Like, just an absolute cunt. Queen cunt is actually what I call this person. Funnily enough, my mother nicknamed her that because we were talking one time. I was like, I just want to like talk about it, but I was like, I have to have a nickname. I'm not going to use their name or anything like that. And I just, listen, my mom is 80 years old. And if you're wondering like, oh, do you talk to your mother that way? Yes, I speak to my mom the same way that I'm speaking to you. All right. I am this way with all human beings. And my mother included. So she knows the foul things that come out of my mouth. And so I told my mom that I think she's a cunt. I don't even know if my mom really knows what that word means, but she nicknamed her QC. It stands for Queen Cunt. So that's what we will refer to my prior boss as, QC, Queen Cunt. Queen Cunt has finally left the nest, people. She's finally got the boot on out of there because she finally harassed someone else to the point where they had no other choice but to fire her. Like, you can only get so many complaints against you, I guess. However, it seemed like the ones I made and the ones people prior to that made were null and void. Didn't matter. Your experience is, you just don't get along. Fucking bullshit. But you know what? I am just glad that finally, I don't typically root for the downfall of people, but this person deserved it. Like, when you go that long mistreating people with that many people, myself included, who's like being vulnerable. Like, for me, I can speak from a place of, I always talk about this, speak from a place of I, don't represent other people in your stories. Okay, so I can come from personal experience. I'm not representing an invisible army of people. I'm giving you very difficult feedback. It is not easy to speak up to someone who has authority over you in the first place. So like, that is just like at the bearer of it all. It's like, to speak up to your authority is already, it takes a lot of courage. So like, not only am I getting up the courage to tell you these things, but the feedback that I'm giving you is also very uncomfortable. It's about the way you're treating me, about the way you're speaking to me. Like, and that's never an easy thing. And like, just to be met with the amount of defensiveness that we were always met with, and like being asked to be like, I just need you to give me grace, but like no grace was ever extended in return. Like, I'm sorry, but that's a cunt. Where it's like, again, I told it on that previous episode where there would be like days that I would come into work where like, they wouldn't acknowledge me as a person, like as my physical existence when I would enter the office or into a room, but I would sit down and receive a Teams message from them. Like, just shit like that, where you're just like, how, like, so much anxiety. Anyway, I say all of this because really and truly, the way that I left, I walked out of work and then I, emailed the CEO, I emailed the head of diversity and inclusion, I emailed all the top executives, to which they replied to me, by the way. I ended up having a meeting about this and like speaking with the head of inclusion and diversity about the situation and my experience. Because here's the thing, I wasn't coming from a place of like wanting to throw this person under the bus. The grand scheme of it all is like if they're missing it on this scale, they're definitely missing it at other stores. Like this is for sure going on in other stores, and y'all need to open your fucking eyes at the fact that like inclusion and diversity starts with the store managers, and if they aren't embodying inclusion and diversity, that inclusion and diversity doesn't exist. And there is so much like shit going on, and y'all need to pay more attention and listen more to the employees who are speaking up. Because let me tell you, if an employee gets the courage to either one, give feedback in person, and then two, nothing happens, they get the courage to then escalate the issue above, knowing that there could potentially be repercussions, retaliation, or whatever that is that they would have to deal with. Like, and they want to say we don't tolerate retaliation. Yes, you do. Yes, you do. Because yes, you do tolerate retaliation if you're not listening to the people who are continuously reporting things and being like, and this is how I'm being treated. You're not fucking listening. It's not an interpersonal conflict when the employee, me, doesn't have a record of interpersonal conflict. Look at my record. Look at my record. Anyway, I could go on about this, but we're just going to celebrate that I'm proud of myself. I'm proud of myself that I started this movement to get this person who does not deserve to be in this role, who is ruining people's livelihoods at work and a job that could be enjoyable and fun and profitable and good and like a great development experience. Get this fucking person who does not deserve it, who doesn't know how to do it, who doesn't want to do it, out of there. They're the wrong person to be managing people. Like they need to get out. And I'm just so glad that I had the balls to do it in the capacity that I did. I was talking about this with somebody this morning that like, that you made the right decision about something when even when you dream about it, you make the same decision over and over again, because oftentimes it's the opposite, right? Oftentimes we get lost in our head of like, oh, what if I wouldn't have done that? What if I would have done this instead? No, I am so solid on the decision that I made to walk out of work and do the things that I did and raise the concerns that I raised and to go to the links that I did to flag this situation to get this person on their way out, because I care that much, right? Where it's like, look, like I've come to the end of my road, but I'm still going to fight for these people that I've worked alongside for the last however many years and the people who come after me. Like, I'm going to fight to the end until I couldn't fight anymore. I continue to fight even after. I continue to have meetings with people and speak up when I wasn't even a fucking employee there anymore. So like, I was talking about that with somebody that like, that's when you know that you did the right thing. And again, I never root for anybody's downfall, but fucking ding dong, that cunt is gone, and praise the universe for that karma coming fucking back. Cheers to karma, y'all. All right, that's my update there. Next little update that I want to bring forth. I was just thinking about this of like, how many great albums have we gotten this year, y'all? Like, okay, maybe it's just because they're some of my favorite artists, but so I'm very biased. But SZA dropped an album earlier this year, so that got me through the beginning of the year. Then Justin Bieber dropped an album that I was bebopping to. I'm still bebopping to. Like, thank you for that. And then Miss Taylor Allison Swift, like, Life of a Showgirl. And here's the thing, there's been a lot of controversy online about this album and how people are like, it's so shitty and blah blah blah. Listen, the bitch is happy and she is in love, and I think that that's why I enjoy it. Do I think that it is as poetic and as in depth as some of her other albums? No, like some of Folklore and Tortured Poets Apartment. But listen, when you listen to some of those lyrics, that she was fucking miserable inside. She was filled with sadness, is what one of the songs says. Like, her sky was just like her sadness, and now she's talking about how her sky is opalite, and it's just, yeah, she's in love. It's boppy, it's dancey, it's fun. And I think that like, that's what my problem with people is, like, not everything is that fucking deep, you guys. Not everything is that fucking deep. And like, I agree with the theories that I've seen on social media. It's mostly TikTok that I've seen this on, but people saying that the song that like anybody who doesn't like the song, get the song, agree with the song or anything, like, they truly haven't experienced a good fucking dicking down. We're like, it's like life, soul changing sex. And I agree because listen, when I hear that song, what I hear, and when I hear this album, what I hear is that she is fucking happy. She is in love and she is getting great fucking sex. And I can get behind that. I mean, the man is 6'6". I can only imagine. Granted that height doesn't always mean, but he's not just tall. That's a thick boy. Listen, and even if it's not, it just sounds like he knows what he's doing and he has been the key to open her thighs. And I am so happy for her. Like, everybody deserves to find that, right? Because I mean, not everybody gets to experience. I've experienced it, and let me tell you that when you experience the sex that is like that, the sex that she talks about, the key that opened her thighs, man, you search, if you lose that, you search for that sex in every person afterward. Like, you will be searching for that kind of sex until you find it again, or you'll be longing for it the rest of your life. You'll be thinking about that sex when you're doing your little alone time. Like, it's soul changing. And when you find that level of chemistry, and it's also coupled with that level of support and love, because oftentimes you find that type of sex in emotionally unavailable people, at least in my experience. I'm not going to categorize everybody, but at least in my experience, that has been my experience with it. So yeah, so to find that level of chemistry and intimacy, both sexually, physically, emotionally, I mean, she's just like attracted to him. Like, that is what, like, we should all be aiming for. And like, just be fucking happy for the girl. Get over yourself. Just realize that shit is not that serious. And like, I don't know. Again, like, I typically don't care much for like celebrity gossip and celebrity relationship, but I can appreciate and love when you can clearly tell that two people are so happy and seem like they're like a great partnership, because, you know, that's what we all want. Well, maybe not everybody, but that's what I want. I want somebody who's like my fucking partner, man. Like, my fucking ride or die. That person that I'm just like, I am so attracted to you and I want to rip your clothes off, but also I want to snuggle you and sniff you to death. And also, like, I could cry and I could laugh. Like all of the things, like, they're the person that you want to call when something good happens, right? That's what we can all hope for somebody who's in our corner, you know. And that actually brings up a really good topic that goes along with a little bit about what we're going to talk about today, is the idea of unconditional love. I have really been thinking about this concept for a while, but just a lot here lately in seeing some things online and things like that. But the idea of unconditional love, and what bullshit I think it is. I truly believe that the only unconditional love that exists is between a mother and a child, because that mother is quite literally attached to that child, developed that child in the womb, birthed that child, cared for that child, provided for that child from their body if they breastfed, or even if they pumped, like, whatever. Like, I believe that a mother's love for their children is the only, and sometimes it's not even a mother's love. Sometimes a mother's love has conditions. But yeah, I believe that a mother's love is like the true only unconditional love that exists. I think the idea that, like, when you find a partner that they're just supposed to, as if like we all just deserve it, okay? They're just supposed to unconditionally love you no matter what. Just because you fall in love and you get married, that they're just supposed to love you unconditionally. What a fucking load of shit. Okay, because I'm sorry. I think that if anything, love comes with a lot of conditions, and it should come with conditions. It should come with conditions that you need those conditions to meet what you need in life too, right? Like, you should be able to have conditions. They should be able to have conditions. Like, the idea that you just love somebody no matter what is fucking stupid. And I'm not talking about like you can't love somebody through bad times or, you know, work through conflict. I'm not talking about that kind of stuff, like hardship. I'm talking about other things. So let's talk about this. This is pretty controversial to bring up when it comes to relationships, but let's talk about one of the partners gaining a bunch of weight. Okay, so I'm not talking about maternity, anything like that, but even still, okay, we can lump that in there, okay? Like, yes, you gain weight whenever you have kids, your body changes, absolutely. There is a level of, I think, education and acceptance that men could improve on when it comes to understanding what happens to a woman's body whenever she does get pregnant and give birth to a child. Because expecting your partner, your wife, to whoever they are to you to get back to their original size, like, quite literally, your body moves out of the way to create a child. So like, not everybody can get back to their original size. Like, and also it kind of depends on like how you had the baby. Like, you typically hang on to weight longer whenever you have a C-section because you have a scar. Like, there's just so many factors. So I think there could be a little bit more education and acceptance when it comes to that department, right? Because a woman is naturally, her body is going to change genetically. Some women are very blessed and they go back to their regular size. But again, that's genetics. Okay. So like, let's just be open and realistic here. So, but I'm talking about the kind of weight gain that you see in a partner where it's, it's extreme, and maybe it's over time, but I'm talking about the partners who gain like 70, 80, 100, 150, 200 pounds. Because here's the argument. I feel like sometimes people will say, well, you should love the person, not what they look like. Shut the fuck up. Because here's what I have to say about that. You cannot tell me that the person who gains, let's go extreme here, 150 to 200 pounds is the same person that they were 150 to 200 pounds lighter. They're just not. Even at 70, 80, 100 pounds heavier, you change because, and this is the sad reality, but it is the reality, the world treats you different when you're in a smaller body. I can tell you that from experience. I had an eating disorder for most of my life because of this, right? Because there is more acceptance, there are more opportunities, there are more just attention given to people in smaller bodies. And, that's not me saying whether that's right or wrong. That's just fact. And so anybody who has ever gained weight and lost weight will also tell you that they can tell you the difference between how they were treated in a bigger body versus a smaller body. It's confirmed. Anytime I've gone through a flare up with my Crohn's or like a hard time in life and my weight fluctuates, I lose weight. People are always commenting on the people who are in smaller bodies. So when you gain a significant amount of weight, the world now treats you different. Your experience in the world is different. So then your experience inside your world becomes different. You're eventually not going to be that same person that your partner fell in love with, even in a bigger body, just because you're in a bigger body. Like, and I'm not saying this is all the time. I'm saying that this is more often than not. This is what happens, right? So like, to say, oh, well, that's so like shallow, like to say, oh, well, if my partner gained weight, I wouldn't love them anymore. But I'm sorry, like, there is a level of condition there, right? That like, when you meet a person, you're falling in love with who they are in that moment. And that doesn't mean that you aren't, going to have to go through things, that you aren't going to grow, that you aren't going to change, and you're going to have to evolve together. Absolutely, you're going to have to put in that work. I'm talking about other things where like people quite literally become different people. Okay, so like, what if you married somebody who started out not religious? Okay, they were like, maybe agnostic. Okay, maybe you're also agnostic. And so that's how they were for the first 10 years of your relationship. And then all of a sudden, they get involved in Scientology. And they want your kids to be raised in Scientology. Like, there are conditions, people. Like, that means that your values no longer align. And that should be a condition. Why would you stay with somebody who doesn't have the same values and future image? Okay. You marry somebody who had never had sex before, and then you have sex and they become a sex addict. I think that's a pretty good condition to say, well, this is where my unconditional love stops. All right, like you should. So like this just idea of unconditional love is just fucking a crock of shit. Again, there's a difference between partnership and evolution and growing together and doing those things, and then there's a difference between just expecting your partner to love you through anything just because you got married and they're your partner. Like, what a lazy partner you are. Like, and I'm sorry, like even like this might sound shallow, but you know, I'm a little vain and I'm a little shallow when it comes to this. I'm not afraid to admit it. I've said it on a previous episode before. I really like, I'm vain when it comes to choosing my partner. Like, I want them to be attractive. I want them to be the person that when they walk in the room, that other people are like, ooh, you know, like that. And that's also the problem is I'm attracted to hot men. But like, fuck, Travis Kelsey. Like, I want to look at my partner and be like, I can't wait to just eat your face. But not really. That's creepy. Anyhow, I went on a really long tangent about unconditional love because again, I think that it's a fucking crock of bullshit. And like, I just get so frustrated with how love is projected and perceived in society and like what it's supposed to feel like and all this kind of stuff. Because it gives us such a wrong idea as women and just as, I mean, honestly, men too, of like what it should quote unquote feel like. It's not, I mean, yes, there are feelings involved, but it's more about like paying attention to the things that matter. Like, where do you see your future? How do you align on that? What are your values? Like, how do you resolve conflict with one another? Like, just more important topics than just like this la la la, we just fall in love and we get married and they're just supposed to love me until the end of time, happily ever after. D. Shut the fuck up. Anyway, Taylor, Travis, you'll probably never hear this, but I wish you all the love and happiness. And it seems like you both are pretty equally yoked, and I hope that you continue to evolve and inspire and lift up the world because you both bring just a bunch of sunshine and good energy. And I, even though I don't give a shit about celebrity gossip, can appreciate the light and the love and the music and the sport and the dedication and everything, the example that you bring to the world. Also, on another tangent, speaking of Taylor, it is just wild where the internet goes, man. Like, these days, the internet has just gone insane. It's like you can't get a new album drop or a commercial drop or something without somebody making it mean something fucking just outlandishly insane. Like, the people who are saying that Taylor Swift is like MAGA now, or that like, I don't know, just like some of her lyrics that like she's racist. Like, I just can't with the internet. Y'all are fucking idiots and you need to get some hobbies and like go outside. Brianna on her recent episode, she was right. She was like, y'all need to touch some fucking grass. Like, seriously though, like, get a hobby, start painting your walls. I don't know, figure out what that is that like distracts your mind, because the internet is ruining you and society. Moving on, last little update for you. So good little segue here is on relationships and everything and the importance of aligning and having good conflict resolution. I am a single little Pringle. Okay, so the last time I was on here, I was updating you that my now ex-boyfriend and I had gotten into our first major argument, our first big blowout, and we did not survive it. So I was talking about how, like, look, like, this is going to be a good test of like how we do or do not resolve conflict. And there was absolutely zero conflict resolution on his end. Just so, you know, I learned a lot about that and was able to kind of see, okay, this person is actually not ready for real partnership and commitment the way that you have to be in that level of serious relationship. You know, so that's an update for me. I'm not going to go into too many other details, just again, because I just, you know, it's not your business. It's mine. Even though this is the OVERSharra podcast, these are like real people in my life and people know who they are. So I'm not going to share about that. But yeah, we are no longer together. So look, I think that, you know, in another big topic of today's episode, I've talked about it before. We're going to revisit it a little bit today because it goes along with this. It's just the ability to do things alone and how like it makes these moments of life, like it makes your resiliency so much stronger and faster and better whenever you go through things like this, go through breakups. because I think that whenever you don't have the ability and the confidence to be alone, do things alone, and things like that, whenever you get out of a relationship, it's not only like grieving that that person's not in your life, you're now also grieving the idea that, like, oh, well, fuck, who am I going to do stuff with? You know? So it's like, I feel like a lot of times people even stay in relationships for that reason. And they're just like, oh, like we do all these things and we have these trips planned and who will I travel with and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, bitch, motherfucker, you can do that by yourself. Like, sure, it's fun with other people, absolutely, like a trip with a person versus a trip by yourself, you know. However, what I'll say is that I have grown to love trips by myself just as much, if not, I think more, in some cases. Like, it depends on the environment, right? Like, there's some things I would prefer to do with people and some things I would prefer to do without people. But I think that that's what's beautiful about traveling alone or doing things alone, is that you get to create that for yourself. You get to decide what that looks like. And so, yeah, I think that, you know, as sucky as it's been to go through this breakup, I think two things I can take from it is, one, no door that's closing is ever a door that was, you know, meant to stay open. Like, there's opportunity for me ahead and there's always something to learn, right? Like, I can look at how I behaved in our argument and in that last situation, and see where I could have done better, and how in the future, if I'm put in that situation, the choices that I could have made to be different. You know, I can take accountability for the things that I misstepped in and that I did wrong. And that's something I can be proud of myself, is that I can learn from this. And another thing is that, like, I can be confident that, like, as shitty as a breakup ever is, you know, that I'm good alone. You know, I was good alone before he came into my life, and I'm gonna be fine without him. Does it catch me up? Sure, but, like, again, I think, you know, whenever you have that confidence, you're able to bounce back a little bit faster. And again, I'm not sitting here saying that I don't get sad, but I think that there is also another level to this, that, you know, while we've known each other a long time, we didn't date for a super long time. So I think that my grieving is a little bit different. I think I'm grieving the fact that, like, this person has been in my life for like 7 years, and they've always been a part of my, like, they've been a part of my life in some capacity for the last 7 years, like in and out of my life. So that door's always been like a little bit left open. And so the fact that, like, you know, in us dating, like, we've kind of ruined the relationship, because I'll be honest that, like, at least in the phase that I'm in right now, I still have like pretty negative feelings towards them. I'm not saying that it's always going to be that way, but so in us dating, it both ruined like the friendship and the relationship, because, you know, even though we never like dated before, like, he was just always somebody that, you know, if I were to ever hit him up, like, he would probably be there for me. Or you know, anytime I was like traveling, I would go park at his house. You know, we just had a relationship. So it's not only grieving the loss of like the romantic relationship that we developed, and the happiness we found there, also too, you know, we had talked about like future stuff together. So I think there's a little loss of like, you know, you get that taste of something that you want, and then you lose it, and you're like, man, like, partnership is something that like is important to me. Like, that is something that I want, but again, I don't want it bad enough to sacrifice myself and sacrifice what I need, and the things that I want in a partner and in a relationship. So you know, I think that helps. But yeah, I think that it's very relieving to be in this phase, because again, I've gone through that breakup where I have not been this person. Like, this is a skill. Like, that is what I always tell people. If it's like, you know, anytime people are like, how do you do that alone? Like, oh, traveling or eating out at a restaurant, or, you know, going to a bar, or anything, like, how do you do it alone? It's like, it's a skill, it's a muscle, it's something that you have to practice at, and eventually you get used to it, and you can start finding things that you really enjoy about it. And, you know, in some cases, again, like, it's kind of a almost like a detriment to some degree, because now I'm so used to like wanting to do things alone or by myself that sometimes I find that I avoid social situations, or I'm content not, you know, getting out. And so I have to like force myself to do community things or to socialize. Or even when I travel, I'm a little picky. And this last time that we went to the beach, actually, I let go of some of my control and I rode with somebody. I typically drive because I like to be in control and I like to ride by myself. And I was like, you know what, Shara, just, you know, it was also the night the day after my now ex and I broke up, so I was extremely tired. So I was like, I shouldn't be driving. I'm tired. I'm just gonna like be in the back and put my headphones on and nap and edit my podcast. So yeah, so just the importance of doing something alone. So like I've given advice on a previous episode about my thoughts on being able to do things alone. Like it truly is a superpower. I believe I saw this quote at the like top of an article recently that was just like, somebody who can like dine alone and go to the cinema alone is like a person who is unstoppable, because it doesn't mean that because you can do it alone you're unstoppable. It really is because it develops a level of resiliency in you. It really does. Learning to be content in your own company is a muscle and a flex. Like, and so the reason that I even decided to like start training this muscle and developing the skill of being alone and doing things alone is because, you know, I saw how devastated my sister was after my brother-in-law passed away, and how just, yeah, she was just lost without this person. And, you know, I've always seen people, oh, my partner completes me. And I'm just like, well, that's a problem. Like, if you don't know who you are outside of this person, or you don't know what you enjoy, or, you know, you can't do things, you're always waiting on somebody to have someone to do something with, you're going to miss out on so much fun, cool shit in life. And like, I don't want to miss out on fun, cool shit. And it was like coupled with this time in my life. So my brother-in-law passed away, and then me and my long-term boyfriend at the time, who were living together, broke up. We had just gone on like this big backpacking trip in Banff, Canada, and I fell in love with hiking. I fell in love with backpacking. We had always gone to like concerts and shows together. Like, we just did fun adventures together. And I was just like, when we broke up and I saw my sister so devastated, I was like, man, like, I saw the importance and I felt the importance of being able to learn to love doing those things, and learning to figure out what I enjoy too. Like, okay, so that's when I started, you know, I started small. I started, you know, going out to eat alone. You know, then I went to concerts alone, then I traveled alone, hiking alone. And, you know, at first, you know, it was awkward. It was awkward as fuck. It was scary as fuck. But then it's also like, oh, hello, cattail. It's also very rewarding. And again, after a while, like, I think that you just develop, it's like any other skill. The more you do it, the better you get at it. It's like dating. So just practice. If you're ever curious and want any like specific tips or anything like that, slide in, leave me a comment, find me on social media. I am always happy to talk about these kinds of things. Look, like, I think one of the reasons I even wanted to start this podcast to begin with is that I have always felt a little isolated in some of the things that I felt in life, or some of the experiences, some of the stories that I have, and also in some of the life choices that I've made for myself. Like, you know, to be in my late 30s and single and child free, it's hard to find other people like me. And, you know, to know, okay, well, I see what all these other people who get married and have kids, like what they do on the weekends and what their life's supposed to look like, or what the trajectory of their life looks like. But like, where the fuck do I fit in? Like, that is something that I continuously think about and talk about in therapy, which I need to get back in therapy. But like, I just don't, there's not a huge community of creators, at least, you know, that I am aware of, or podcasters or anything like that, that like are for, you know, your late 30, your 30 somethings and beyond, that are like single child free women. Like, I, you know, I hope that at some point I have partnership, but like, again, that's not owed to us. That's not guaranteed to us. Like, just because you're a human on this planet doesn't mean that you're owed partnership. Like, the whole idea of like, you're going to find your person one day and there's a person for everyone. Shut the fuck up. It's the same way that I feel about unconditional love. It's a crock of shit. Okay. Like, just because you're a human and you're alive and you're on this planet does not mean you are owed and deserve a partner. You might not even live long enough to meet your person. And that is a hard fucking pill to swallow, but it's the fucking truth. And you need to stop letting people blow the smoke up your asshole that there's fairy tales and rainbows. You have to create your own fairy tales and rainbows while you're fucking here. Okay. So figure out how to enjoy doing life by your fucking self, so that you create your own sunshine and you create your own rainbows. And when that shining star comes through, y'all are just lighting up the sky. Look at me, Taylor Swifting over here. You're just lighting up the sky until it's opalite. All right. You got an iridescent sky over there. You're so fucking shiny and bright with just love, joy, and rainbows that, like, wow. Okay, that's the message. It's because you're not guaranteed. Like, I love you, Mom, but like, I'm not guaranteed to find someone just because I'm a good person, just because I would be a good person. It's like the same concept of people being like, oh, but you should have kids because you'd be such a great mom. That is not a reason enough for me to have a child. Just because I would be good at it doesn't mean that I should do it. Just because I'm a good person and I would be a good partner and I have so much love to give and all of these things, I agree. My brother tells me all the time, you're a 10, you're a 10. I fucking agree. I'm probably like a solid 6 or a 7 at looks, but my personality, my honesty, my vulnerability, my ability to show up in a relationship, the way that I show up for my partner, the way that I go above and beyond for the people that I'm in a relationship with, like I want to constantly have sex, my sex drive, like I am a 10 out of 10. I don't disagree with that. I'm a fucking gem. However, I'm not guaranteed to find an equal partner for me just because of those things. I'm not owed it. And so I hope that I find it, but if I don't want to go my whole life not enjoying my life and not finding the things that, can bring me a lot of fulfillment just because I don't have fucking partnership. Like I can find partnership and community in the other relationships that I choose to bring and nurture in my life, like my friendships and the community around me that I'm involved with, my family, my friends' families, my friends who have kids, their kids, like that is the community that I can create for myself, and it can still be beautiful even if I never end up with somebody. And that is the message, okay? Like you should be so good on your own. Learn how to do these things, learn what you love about life on your own, because even again, I'm referencing Taylor Swift again, but like you truly can't find that person who can be what you're looking for until you have that yourself, until you are not afraid to sit alone at your own table, that like you can both feel full. And wow, I just really went on a tangent there. But yeah, that's just, that's why I truly do believe that you should be able to do things alone. And again, like why I wanted to start this is, to create more community, to create more conversation, to create more just, dialogue, sharing, oversharing for people who, there's just not a lot of community and advice for the women, the men, the people who, are more like me, single, single, ready to mingle in their late 30s and child free, all right? As my brother calls me, and I'm going to trademark this, the loner stoner content donor, y'all. All right, we got some little questions here, little listener questions. I got two. So some people slid into my DMs, and I chose these two out of some questions that people wrote to me because I thought they went along well with what I wanted to chat about today. So here we go. I feel like I only attract emotionally unavailable men. Do you have any advice for how to break the cycle? Oh, girlfriend. And honestly, this isn't just unavailable men. This is unavailable people, okay? This goes for anybody who feels like they keep ending up in situations, relationships, feelings, whatever it is, with people who are not emotionally available. And here is the hard truth. The problem is you. And I'm talking to myself as well, okay? Like this is my history, this is my pattern, this is my problem. This is what I also need. So any advice I am giving to you right now, I am also speaking to myself. Why is it always that we can give advice to other people, but we never fucking listen to the advice we know is right for us? So the problem is you. If you keep finding yourself ending up with emotionally unavailable people, the problem is you, because you're choosing to ignore the signs that are up front in front of you, unless this person is like pulling the wool over your eyes and you don't figure it out until later on. Okay, then that's a little bit different story. But typically speaking, the emotional unavailable person shows that side of them pretty straight on, or they're pretty straightforward with what they'll say. Like whenever you ask them like what they're looking for, they're like, I don't know, blah blah blah, like, and I think that sometimes people, especially me, women, I feel like we're a little bit more prone to being victims of this. We think, oh, well, I could change his mind. I could fix him. He doesn't know. I'm going to make him know. He's going to fall in love with me. Listen, in my experience and in most of the experience of people that I've seen end up in these types of situations, you end up the person hurt, not them, because you end up having feelings and they still end up confused. They still end up not being able to give you what they want, and then you internalize it. Hi, I'm just speaking, Shara, you internalize this. And then you're left feeling like, well, what was it about me? What should I have done differently? Maybe I'm not enough. Maybe I was too much. Like, I really struggle with ruminating on those types of thoughts whenever I find myself in just dating situations in general, but especially with emotionally unavailable person, because it's a game. Because they're not always emotionally unavailable, and that's what keeps you around, is the fact that you get those little glimmers of them being in. And while those little glimmers are so great, they're addicting. It's like a drug, right? Like it's like an adrenaline. It's like a high. It's like, and you can't wait to have that again. So they give you that, and then they pull away because they don't know. They're emotionally unavailable. Whatever is going on, they're telling you, they are showing you, whether by words, whether by actions, whether by both, that they are not capable of giving you, of showing up in that relationship emotionally, whatever that is, in the capacity that you need, want, and desire. All right. And when they start showing you, telling you, exhibiting those signs, you have to listen, and you have to be the strong person and walk away. All right. And that's the problem. That's why you keep ending up in these situations where you find yourself having feelings, situationships, relationships, whatever, with emotionally unavailable person, is because you allowed it to get to that place. I allowed it to get to that place, right? Like, the person is telling you, I don't know what I want, blah, blah, blah. But then you get these little glimmers of like, but I can tell you really care about me. I'm sure that they do care about you. I'm sure that they did really care about me. I'm sure that they do love you, or maybe you're falling in love with. It doesn't matter. If that person is emotionally unavailable, there is not a single thing that you can do to change their mind. That has to come from them. And whatever baggage they're carrying around, they have to unpack that themselves. It's great if you can find somebody who recognizes that they have that baggage, and they can be accountable to that baggage, and they can share that baggage, and you can help unpack it together. But that's a different situation. That's a person who understands their baggage and is willing to share their baggage with you, and they're willing to start recognizing, okay, I have a pattern of being emotionally unavailable, and I want you to be aware of it so that when it happens, we can work through it together. That's different. All right. That's somebody who has a pattern of emotional unavailability, but is willing to show up to the plate because they're ready for the type of commitment and work that it requires to break the pattern and to show up in the relationship. Until somebody reaches that for themselves, you could be the best person, the most perfect fit. Like, timing really is so much of it. And I don't want to put that in your head of like, oh, well, hold on to hope maybe down the road, because that's also a really unhealthy thing to do. Like, I can find myself in that situation too, of just being like, oh, well, what we had was real, and blah, 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 and maybe they'll change. Don't miss out on other opportunities because you're leaving the light on for somebody, because quite frankly, one, they might not be leaving the light on for you. And two, like, I'm not a religious person to any degree, but I do believe, I can't say whether or not there is or there is not a higher being. Like, I truly don't know. But I can say that I have had times in my life where it's been too coincidental for me not to be like, huh. And I do have the belief that like what's meant for you is already on its way to you. Like, not like I do believe in the like I'm not the person like everything happens for a reason, but I do believe that you can like find meaning and things like that. But I do believe that like if that door closes and it's meant to reopen for you, it will find its way back to you. Like, you are meant to go live and even if that means you get married and move on with your life and they do something, like, if that person truly is the person who is meant to come back and be in your life, I genuinely believe that the energy of the universe will bring that back together at a time where it's more suitable to happen, right? So like, again, don't necessarily like hold out the hope and miss out on other opportunities. It would be a perfect time for you. This goes back to us. It would be a perfect time for you to spend time alone. Stop trying to figure out, because I also find that When you have a pattern of entering relationships with emotionally unavailable men, at least from my own experience, it's also a sign that you have some sort of like codependency to some degree, or there's something within you that's like being triggered to flare up. Maybe it's like abandonment issues, or maybe it's like some codependency issues or something like that. Never is it ever a better time than when you find yourself in those situations, a better time than to invest heavier into yourself. Because here's the thing, if that person too is like on the cusp of like being ready or not, you being more involved is not going to push them to wanting more. It's actually the opposite. You being like, cool, well, I'm interested. However, I've also got my own shit going on. I've got my own life outside of this. I've had a life before you. I'm going to have a life after you. I'd have a life with you if you're interested in building that together, but I'm going to go do my thing. We'll hang out when we can hang out. Like, I think that there is a level of that too, of being like not being so available to people, right? Like, there is a level of like, it's attractive when people have their own shit going on. Like, when you're just so far up somebody's ass, or like you just like, they know that they can just drop of a hat be like, hey, what are you doing? You're like, oh, no plans, let me just cancel everything I have going on. Like, if you find yourself that you're canceling your plans to like hang out with somebody consistently, or like you're doing all that they want, like that is also a sign that like you need to do some self-reflecting and maybe spend some time alone, because you need to develop a strong relationship with yourself outside of the relationships that you're trying to develop, so you can have a stronger sense of self and a stronger will to walk away when it's not matching what you deserve. So yeah, that was a long-winded answer to that question, but yeah, the problem is you need to have a better some better discretion at the beginning, be able to walk away and build a better relationship with yourself. Okay, next question is what's the worst decision that you've ever made out of loneliness? Oh, Jesus, I've made some terrible decisions out of loneliness. Well, fuck, last episode I talked about getting engaged, so that's one. But I would say, off the top of my head, and thinking about this question, the worst decision that I've ever made was when I moved back to New Orleans and I invited somebody that I was not dating very long or very seriously to come with me. To be very transparent, we were tripping on acid one night and we had like reconvened. So we had like dated for a little bit, broke up, and then started dating again. I was living in Lafayette at the time, and yeah, this person was just like, I was extremely lonely in Lafayette, very depressed, and this person was just very different from anybody that I had met there yet, and so yeah, I think I was lonely enough to just do exactly what I was talking about not doing in the previous answer, which is just ignoring everything out of just having somebody to do something with. Again, like I have, that was years ago, so I've done even more soul searching since then. But like, yeah, even people who are self-aware can find themselves in those situations. So yeah, we had dated, broken up, and gotten back together, and we're just like casually dating again. I knew that I was going to be moving back to New Orleans already, because I had already talked to my boss about wanting to leave Lafayette, move back to New Orleans, blah blah blah. Like, I just wanted to get back to where my friends were in a city that I enjoyed, and so I already knew that I was moving. We were out one night drinking, did a little acid, we're having fun at like a show, and it just like came out. I was just like, you should come with me, and then that ball started rolling, and I just like, you know I again was lonely, and I think also excited to move to New Orleans, and like kind of feeling like, oh, well, now I'm not gonna have to do it alone. I did, however, smartly. This was the best thing that I ever did in that situation, though. Was I was very adamant that we would have separate bedrooms. I was like, look, I've been in a situation before where I've moved in with somebody, and then we've broken up and had to like live in the situation together because we were still in the lease, and I was trying to find somewhere to live, and we had to sleep in the same bed because the couch wasn't big enough. Like, it was this whole thing. I don't want to have to go through that again if this doesn't work out. So like, thank fucking God. We also got a place that had two bathrooms, so we could at least keep separate. Like, it was like a half bath and like a full bath, so he could at least use the half bath outside of just showering. So yeah, I was definitely glad, but like, what a fucking horrible situation. I'll have to tell that story, but grand scheme of it all was that he ended up moving out, like, I don't know, a few months later, tried to stick me with the rent. I had to go after his dad. There was like a domestic violence incident. It was like a whole traumatic thing. Anyway, so like, he moved out. So yeah, so don't make decisions. The the lesson there is don't make decisions when you're lonely. Okay. Don't make decisions when you're feeling a lot of emotions. Don't make decisions when, don't make any big life decisions if you're feeling anxious, emotional. Like, you need to do something that is going to like calm your mind, calm your nervous system. Like, making those decisions if you know that you're in that state. Like, that's my advice. Just don't make big decisions. Okay. I know that you have to make like daily decisions, but no big life decisions. All right. And find some counsel with someone, whether it's a, close friend that you trust, a close family member that you trust. Like, find some counsel in them so that they can give you, some advice, a therapist, whatever that is. All right. No decisions, and have better boundaries. All right, y'all. That is the episode for today. As always, thank you so much for listening. If you could, please, please, please give me a like, drop me a comment, let me know what you thought about it. Subscribe. Please subscribe to this channel. You can find me on social media. I would love to connect with you. I would love to interact with you. So find me on social media. You can find me on Instagram or TikTok at Sharra Coley. That's SharraColey. Again, slide in with questions, topics, anything that you would like me to share or talk about here on the podcast. I would love to hear from you. So, again, always such a fun time being with you. Thanks again for listening. I hope you all have a great week and a great time. Drink a margarita. All right. Cheers to that. I got my coffee, but, we'll be drinking margs later. All right. Until next time, y'all. Meow.